My pleasant day to everyone. I am Ashley Nahianchu, taking Bachelor of Science in Social Work in Western Philippines University Section 1B. For this video, I will tackle about my research paper. I come up with this idea due to our current situation wherein we have coronavirus or COVID-19 pandemic that's spreading all over the world. So the study entitled The Impact of Social Media Platform as News Sources in this Pandemic in Barangay Port Barton, San Vicente, Palawan. And for the introduction of this study, a social media platform is defined as a web-based and mobile-based internet application that allows the creation, access, and exchange of users-generated contents. Any of its affiliates for the exclusive purpose of promoting business, spreading news, and information, including any profiles or accounts on Facebook, Google+, Instagram, and any kind of social media platforms. While the field of infodemiology has studied information patterns on the web and social media for at least 18 years. The COVID-19 pandemic has been referred to as the first social media infodemic. The background of the study: getting information or idea, especially the news, it should contain reliability and credibility to make sure that we share to others is truth or facts. In addition, social media platforms helps give more exposure to news and unite the world on a completely new level. For instance, news sources are excellent for finding out people's reactions, opinions, and prevailing attitudes around the times of an event. The influence of social media is being used in ways that shape politics, businesses, world culture, education, careers, innovation, news, and more. Social media is becoming an increasingly important tool for journalists for finding news content and distributing stories to their audience. And for the statement of the problem, a specific question that this study aims to answer are the following. Number 1. What is the impact of social media platforms as news sources in this pandemic? Number 2. How reliable and credible are social media platforms as news sources in this pandemic? And for the objective of the study, the main objective of this study is to evaluate the impact of social media platforms as news sources to this pandemic. Here are the other objectives: determine the impact of social media platforms as news sources, to analyze the reliability and credibility of social media platforms as news sources, to know the notion and perception of respondents with regards to this matter, to determine how social media affects self-reported mental health and the spread of panic about the current issues. And for theoretical framework of review of related literature, there's a lot of study regarding about it, but here's are the most relevant study regarding about it also. According to Hansel et al., 2017 defined social media as a set of online applications and tools that provide ways of social interaction and communication between digital media user by facilitating and creating knowledge, sharing, and ultimately transforming a monologue into a dialogue. For instance, by an organization to customers. However, based on Handy 2013 and Borns 28, admit that the abundance of social tools for creating media's content by unprofessional is posing serious threats to tradition media's existence and influence. According to the researchers, Wikifield 2016, Kang 2009, and Tandok 2018, as far as means of accessing news, a study confirmed that 51% of people rely on social media as a news sources. Other scholars have developed a 14-item credibility measurement criteria for blog. Based on Frankel et al. 2021 reports that after the WHO claimed that social media companies were fueling misinformation on COVID-19 worldwide, some social media companies tried to remove false information from their platforms. And for the methodology, this study was conducted in every locality of Barangay Port Barton, San Vicente, Palawan, approximately assumed 3 hours away from the mainland of San Vicente, the Poblacion town proper, and almost 23 kilometers away from northwest Ruas, Palawan. Procedure for data collection and data gathering technique. Interview was used and done through online using various social media platforms to communicate the respondents. And for the result in discussion, for the question number 1, is the social media platforms are trustworthy in obtaining information, especially news? Based on the table provided, the majority answer is yes. It has 60% that the social media platforms are trustworthy in obtaining information, especially in news. And according to Wikifill 2016, he stated to his research 85% that the social media platforms is trustworthy in gathering information. And for the question number 2, is it social media platforms are valid or reliable as news sources? And based on the table provided, the majority answer is yes. It has 60% that the social media platforms is valid and truly reliable as news sources. And based on Kang 29, 2009, social media platforms has 75% that it is valid and reliable as news sources. And for the question number 3, does the social media platforms helps you to be updated in all news like now pandemic? And based on the table provided, the majority answer is yes. 68% of the respondents stated that social media platforms might help to them to be updated in all news like now pandemic. According to the researcher of Borns 2008, it is stated the social media platforms is very useful and helpful in terms of gathering information and news. There is 85% in United States. And for the question number 4, what is the impact of social media platform as news sources to you? And the choices are very good, very bad, and bad. Out of 25 respondents, 24% of it answered very good and 76% is good. The majority answered is good that the impact of social media platform as news sources for them. And for the question number 5, President Rodrigo Duterte said, ang hindi magpapabakuna ay ikukulong. Regarding to this headline, what is the impact to you? Based on the table provided, the choices is mentally affected or physically affected or both physically and mentally or none. And according to the respondents regarding to the headline shown, the impact to them are mentally that has 60% answered. Based on Hansel et al. 2007, it is really affect the mental of everyone users of social media. And for the question number 6, Regarding to the question number 5, please specify the effect of it to you. And here's are the researcher provided choices. Here's a anxiety, depression, stressed, afraid or nervous, distracted, annoyed. The table shows are the effect of the headline. President Rodrigo Duterte said, ang hindi magpapabakuna ay ikukulong. According to the respondents that stated 4% anxiety, 8% depression, 40% stressed, and 36% afraid and nervous, 8% distracted, 4% annoyed, and the total of 100%. But the majority answer is stressed. And for the question number 7, what are the social media platforms did you prefer in obtaining or gathering information, especially in news? Pick at least 3 and the choices. The choices are Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, Pinterest, LinkedIn, Tumblr, Flickr. According to the table provided, as we can see, the result of the conducted survey through online about the social media platforms, that what are the 3 platforms that did they preferred in obtaining or gathering information, especially in news. Based on the survey, the 3 majority answered are Facebook, that has 100% answered of respondents out of 25 respondents. Instagram, that has 52% answered of respondents, and YouTube, that has 100% answered of respondents. For the summary of this study, it aimed to determine and evaluate the impact of social media platforms as news sources in this pandemic in Barangay Port Barton, and to know the relationship between independent variable of this study. As previous study, social media has been a venue for people around the globe to unite. With the help of reversibility analysis, we find evidence and proof supporting to this study that social media platforms is highly essential on news sources in this pandemic. Cluster sampling procedure was used in selection of sample respondents. The researcher chose 25 for the respondents. Some of the respondents are not able to use social media platforms as their news sources, but most of them are truly using social media platforms as their source of news. For the conclusion of this study, based on the findings of this study, researcher found out the significance of using social media platforms as a news sources in this pandemic, and how individuals became update and having an awareness on what happened to our surrounding. Most of the residents in Barangay Port Barton are acknowledged social media platforms as their news sources in this pandemic, but some of them are not able to use it because of the impact to them personally. Although social media platforms have plenty impact and effects to the lives of users, but users are acknowledgeable to use social media platforms in a right ways that cannot affect their lives. And that's all. This is me, Ashley Chu. Thank you, and God bless.